Alrighty then. 2v2. Rails and metal. You need something built. Well, perhaps. Yeah, memes. Again, you really need to tell me, like, what the balance between sound and in-game sound is gonna be. Anyway, so this is obviously a 2v2, as you can see, on Rails and Metal. So we have two Soviets, Char Martel and Banana Pina, or Aziz the Combat Fighter. Aziz. And his tag is NS. I wonder why. We have on the other side, we have Delmon playing as the OKW, the OKW, and Larry Longballs. Interesting name. He is going to be playing as the Wehrmacht. So let's see how this pans out. Now, obviously, there's two Soviets. So there's going to be quite a lot of conscripts, I'm guessing. And, Stern Pioneers got to the building first. Get behind the wall and shoot at them, I guess. Alright. In the south, we have that the machine gun is doing its job, but this conscript squad is in heavy cover. So they're going to do quite well. And, yeah, do quite a bit of damage to the MG42. Now they get flanked around by the Grenadiers, but the Grenadiers at close range are going to also take quite some damage. And then we have another flanking unit coming in with the conscripts here, and yeah, that whole situation is not the best for Larry Longballs, but I'm guessing he's going to win due to the virtue of the MG42. In the end, I mean, we have a second combat engineer, but it's not being upgraded with flamers, although the machine gun sights retreat out of the Urian conscripts, and the Ura conscripts will actually get in close to those Grenadiers and pound them into bits for the motherland and Comrade Stalin and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Here, can these combat engineers survive? They do, actually, and that is a very, very unexpected and good win for the Soviets. But can they defeat the final boss, which is Grenadier Squad number 2? Not sure. We also have Conscript Squad number 3 coming in, so I guess that could be okay for him. In the meantime, up in the north, we have that the folks were forced away by this conscript. Molotovs have been thrown into the building just to get these guys out, and that's been successful. But there's a couple of Volksgrenadiers that can probably retake this for Germany. Although, I say that, we also have another conscript moving in, so... Music is too loud. Okay. No, it's not supposed to be too loud. Increase it for the memes. Alright, so now it should be... Now it should be decent. I mean, memes are trumping everything else. Okay. Memes should trump everything else. All right. My name is Mortar. I am very strong. And there goes the conscript. So first wipe of the game. Coming in for the Germans, the Nazis, showing their superiority once again. Now, one thing that I'm not understanding is exactly why the game is being so choppy. But yeah, it seems like the Germans are coming back into this slightly. The right side, they can recap it. Whereas we have that the left, well, I mean, the left, it's just kind of derpy for the Allies to take on Rails and Metal, especially if it's the Soviets. Because they're just so much open terrain, so it's relatively difficult. It's going to be a lot of back and forth over here. We have conscript spam coming in from Char Martel and Aziz the Combat Fighter. So, honestly, this is going to be pretty difficult for them to play, because Rails and Metal is a map that's very open, and you know, there's a lot of ways in which the Nazis can utilize their long-range advantage, as opposed to the Allies, who need to be thinking of ways to counteract that. Of course, that usually results in the Allies spamming out a lot of Maxims, or, you know, Vickers and that kind of stuff, but it's not been done so far, and I think that the Soviets have been suffering because of it. But they're at least trying, and, you know, the conscript spam has its purposes, as we're going to see after, you know, a while, because if the conscript spam is going to serve its purposes, then the Soviets are going to essentially have a lot more map and resource control than they ought to be. So yeah, that would be pretty good. Aziz the Combat Fighter also went for the counterattack tactics, like the Panzer guy from the last replay. Let's see if he actually uses it, though, which might be, you know, a little bit too much to ask. How dare you use the doctrine that you picked? And looks like this conscript is trying to get in close range, but it went in perhaps a little bit too close, as the Volksgrenadiers absolutely obliterated them on the approach. So that's not the best. In the meantime, this other Volksgrenadier squad is getting wiped out by yet more conscripts from Aziz. So Aziz switching sides, being very, very ballsy in his pushes against the enemy Volksgrenadiers, and providing some vital support for Charles Martel, being able to essentially send these Volksgrenadiers and general these OKW troops back home. And yeah, that's gonna of course concede the right side to the Wehrmacht player, but he's not really doing too much with it, so I'd say that that was a successful move. And now he's going for a mortar himself, so that's gonna take away one of the main advantages that long balls would have normally, because in a stalemate, obviously whoever has a mortar has some pretty good advantages. But with the Soviet mortars coming into play, yeah, the machine guns are not going to be as useful, and he can also counter the mortar, obviously. Although the German mortar has its advantages, and the Soviet mortar has its advantages as well. It's going to depend a lot on RNG, whoever wins that fight. So yeah, this is allowing Charles Martel to just come in and take everything. The problem is he's spammed so many conscripts, he doesn't really have that many defensive options. He's going for an AT gun right now, just in case his opponent goes for something like a vehicle, and in fact, we do see a vehicle. So that is a very, very wise decision for him. We do have the mine being selected and placed, and that's going to be enough to defend VP against the Sturm Pioneers, along with the Flammenwerfer, or Agnamiot, as it is a Russian flamethrower. Schwolok down, so I'm guessing that was a squad that went down for the Germans here. Maybe a Pioneer. Doesn't look like it. Wow, that was a bad rifle grenade. Never rifle grenade people who are in green cover, because it's gonna do half damage. Unless, of course, you're firing from behind. Which is kind of counterintuitive if you think about it, because, you know, a grenade is supposed to be going over the cover if you're firing it behind the cover, but that's not how it works in Company of Heroes, so yeah. And yeah, we have that. Predictably, because of the lack of machine guns, we just have that the Germans can come back and retake the left-hand side, but, I mean, that's fine, because Charles Martel is going to come back with a vengeance, and it's not like the Germans have that much of a defensive front of their own. They are getting the flak half-track just to try to use, you know, a little bit of vehicle action to deter the Allies from going, you know, going in and recapturing the left. But I don't think that will be the most effective thing ever because of the AT gun. Kampfgruppe Leer has proven its superiority once again. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get the music all done and well. But it's something hard that I can try. Something hard that I can try. Anyway. So obviously, conscripts doing their best, which is not that great. And ooh. Love that smoke ability. Relic, just instant smoke. It's even more instant than the than the Panzer Technician, which is really fucking annoying. At least it costs munitions now, but you know, before it at least required you to be Ved 1, it should probably be both Ved 1 and require munitions, but whatever. And yeah, allies are being kind of pushed back into their lines. And back into their base, which is of course pretty bad. Looks like Aziz's mortar was also forced away, so that's always a sign that things are going pretty bad for you. The flak half-track is getting repaired, but I mean, the AT gun is keeping up with it, and despite the few instances in which the half-track can actually get some killing done, it's not really doing too much. We have Char Martel's conscript moving in, but they do not actually have the anti-tank grenades, so that's not going to be enough to defeat the half-track, because we have the AT gun, of course, can't chase down the half-track. Which is very sad. Oh, that would be a good rifle grenade, but no, it was not to be. And yeah, Soviets coming back onto the left, and thanks to the double teaming, a little bit thanks to just the Germans being temporarily forced to retreat. They can recapture a few points. The center, however, is well held by Longballs. He's only got a machine gun, though, in terms of not grenadiers, and a mortar, obviously. So what is he going for? Well, we have Battle Phase 2 coming in, and he hasn't upgraded or built Leicht Mechanized Company. Which means that, well, I'm not sure what he's trying to do. Because you should always build a Leicht Mechanized Company, whatever you do. But, oh well, I guess he's trying to rush out a Panzer IV or an Ostwind, which would be relatively effective, I feel like. Nice Molotov. But this does not look like an offensive that can be useful. We do have the Fort of Murderland available to Aziz, but he just doesn't have the units to push into Longballs. Longballs has just more units at this point. He's still pushing up and, you know, putting up pressure, which is very, very nice. However, that's only going to do so much while his ally is also losing. So Char Martel and Aziz probably should be trying to merge up again to avoid nasty surprises, you could say.
Not let up. The enemy still has 300 points.
That was a grenade and a half. He kind of hit himself with that, which is very sad for him. But yeah, where's the AT gun? It's coming back. Okay. Yeah, they're just trying to take over center, but left is still very much under OKW domination. And Aziz is still trying to go for the right side. I wonder why. He's got 200 fuel that he hasn't been spending. Perhaps should be... Yeah, right. When these engineers go back at base, I'm sure they'll be building some stuff. And Char Martel himself is going for a Mechanized Armor Campagnia, which is a very good decision. Obviously. We'll see what he can get out of there. He's also Armored Assault, so that means T-34-85s and IS-2s. Which, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if those get used. Yeah, looks like the conscript spam is finally starting to pay off for the Soviets. We have Molotovs coming in on the covers, and then we have kind of, you know, just a lot of rifles putting down quite a bit of damage on some of these Grenadiers. Oh, wow. That might be the end of the conscript squad. And yeah, it is the end of the conscript squad. But he also kills the machine gun. Honestly, that's a good trade because he can't retake. Yeah, he cannot recruit the machine gun, and machine gun for a con. I'd say that that's a good trade because, you know, what's the con gonna do in the long term compared to at least the machine gun? Mortar dies. Tried to pop for the motherland to survive for a little bit longer, but it wasn't to be. And actually, because of, you know, you're faster with for the motherland, you can actually run away with the AT gun. And the conscripts, I think they activated Hurrah, but you saw how quick they were. Look at that, fucking Usain Bolt conscripts. No, that's actually just normal. Man, imagine if they also had Hurrah activated. They're trying to run away. Can they be fast enough? Wow. That's interesting. Lots of Rekenwerfers coming in for Delmon, and he's also, he's also called in another truck, which is a good idea, because he can set up that Schwer somewhere and really screw over the Soviets. We'll see if we can see some T-34-85s, though. So honestly, right now, I feel like to come back into this, the Soviets will have to use some of that reserve fuel. And I feel like Charles Martel, if he's not getting a T-34-76 now, he's going to get a T-34-85 later. He's going to get a T-34-85 later. How are you going to get back into KO2, though? Smoke Mancers. Are you gonna get back into KO2, though? You're never gonna do that, ass bag. Because you're a memer. Memers don't play this game. Okay, so he's building up some sandbagos.
Only 200 points remain. Double your efforts.
Only 200 points for the Soviets. But now they're joining up again. And they have a lot of weapons. I feel like this is kind of a turning point because they have kind of realized, okay, we need to stick together to overwhelm whatever local German forces are there, and to better protect our support weapons, to better protect our infantry that's, you know, very squishy, and just in general to make sure that we get as many advantages as possible going on, because we're losing. But you know, of course, it's still going to be difficult because this just means that they can be attacked from more directions. And oh wow, that was a good artillery shot from the Zisfree. There's also a Panther coming in for the Wehrmacht. So he went for the tier 3 rush, or sorry, tier 4 rush. That's an interesting choice, I'd say. Not really 100% that would be the best choice, considering that the enemies do not really have a lot of vehicles. But Charles Martel has just spent a lot of his fuel. And I can't really see what he did because I'm pouring myself water. So yeah, it's a T-34-85 as expected. And yeah, that grenade not doing anything because it was through the green cover. Yes. Yes, Comrade Stalin. This is a game that, like, my subscribers played, and then they sent it in as a replay. Okay, so we have the B4 on station. I'm pretty sure he's not going to go for it, but that would be neat to see. Yeah, just pooling the resources for the Soviets. That's the name of the game at this point. And with the T-34-85 on the field, they can have a kind of mobile anti-Panther unit. Ooh, we do have the Schwer Panzer headquarters being set up in an interesting location because here the hill is actually going to be making it a little bit difficult for it to land its shots. Also, it's in a relatively vulnerable location. If the German units around here are routed, especially the anti-tank guns, then the Soviets can just kind of fall upon this thing and really destroy it with impunity, because it's very aggressively placed. So I'm kind of predicting that to happen, actually. Because, you know, there's a lot of AT guns, there's T-34s, T-34-85s, you know. Aziz still hasn't gone for a tier 4 unit, but I'm guessing that that's going to be an Su-85 when the time comes. So, yeah, there's a lot of options to come in here. Although we do have a second Panther, this time from the OKW, the OKW. Might not be the best idea in the world, considering his ally also had a Panther. But hey, that's just what I say. Is that a big airstrike? Well, it's not big, but it's definitely impressive looking. And yeah, here we go. So the Panther's coming back in, and there's the line of AT guns, which is exactly what I was thinking is going to be what takes down the Schwer. Although, putting the Schwer in this kind of depression is making it a lot more difficult for the AT guns to hit. So they're resorting to artillerying, which is actually surprisingly working. Because they also took down the AT gun there, the German AT gun. And with the AT guns, they can just, you know, switch back in. And if the Panther tries to come in, it's not good. There goes the half track, and with the T-34-85, so you can protect the flanks. Is that going to be enough? The main gun is destroyed. Okay, excellent. So the T-34-85 can now come in and crush that Panther with the help of the AT guns. That's dead. And now the Panther is trying to chase, and that's a bad idea because it's chasing with the rear armor showing into a lot of AT. And the T-34 here can use the... He could have used the burning wreck for cover, but he's still going to die. Still though, despite the fact that he died, he killed a Panther, and they're doing a lot of damage to the German infantry, and they're also taking down the Schwer. Meantime, on the right side, if we've been checking out the minimap, we have a Maxim pushing in and taking this VP. We have the center VP being taken, so with 70 VPs left, the Soviets are very aware of the fact that they need to be coming in and securing those VPs, otherwise they're going to be losing. And very ignominiously at that. Here comes the big engineer attack of a lifetime. And actually with, for the motherland, I wonder if that's going to be really effective. Oh, look at that! They actually do a lot more damage with those Flammenwerfers. That's good for them. And with them being faster, yeah, I can see why you would want to do that. Let's see how quickly they melt their cannon. Of course, they need to hit to actually do damage, and with their cannon river that was a big burst of damage. Only 5 seconds remaining. How much damage can you do? Not much, because you didn't get any criticals. That's sad. All right. So, in the aftermath of all of that, well, that sure was a pain in the ass because of the hill. Yeah, I know, right? I know, right? What do you mean Stream Alert is not working? Streamlabs? What have you been doing? Whatever, I'll check after game's done, because, you know, that's gonna go on YouTube. If I pause for the YouTube people, they're not gonna understand what's going on. But yeah, we'll check it. Alright, so we have some pretty nasty Volksgrenadiers coming in. And we have the KV-1 heavy tank. So this time we do see a KV-1. Now that the Panther for the OKW is dead, I can see why he would go for that, but I'm pretty sure it's just gonna be met with a command Panther. Which, you know, it's gonna make life for the KV a lot more difficult than he perhaps wants it to be. Would you look at that? And yeah, the right side, we still have this cap attempt from the Maxim, and it's relatively successful, because look at this, there's 2 Panthers there randomly, but they're not moving in to range of the machine gun, the pintle-mounted machine gun, so it's just not enough. They don't do damage to infantry with the gun. But the 2 Panthers are around, and that's a very dangerous little battle group that the Allies are going to have to deal with. Yeah, the biggest problem right now for the Allies is still the fact that they're having to concentrate 2v1 on the left just to win. And so this means that not only the Germans have natural control over 2VPs, this also means that there's a big kind of open and difficult to defend flank for, you know, for our Allied players. Now, obviously, they're trying to plug that hole, and oh, look at that for the Motherland plus the flamethrowers, but they're also taking a lot of damage, not just giving it out. So one of the the engineers goes down. Yeah, that Schwer was positioned in a weird place, and it was kind of annoying to deal with. Now we only have 50 points left for the Soviets, but they're capping the center, so they're okay. In terms of the right side, though, it's being whittled down, but honestly, this machine gun should be placed here and have the arc covering this. Tiger Ace. Really now? So he decided to go with the elite troops doctrine, which is the best doctrine in the game, as everyone knows. Oh my god. We have the German infantry trying to move in, but they're getting absolutely massacred by the Soviet tanks. Grind them beneath our treads. So yeah, that's pretty effective. And they are lucky to escape, because honestly, at least one wipe there could have been a thing. And thanks to the support of the anti-tank guns, the KV-1 didn't really even take that much damage from the Panther. The command Panther. The Wehrmacht Panthers, I'm not sure what they're up to. And yeah, they look like they're getting ready to push here, but their infantry has been essentially pinned and forced away by the Maxim. So what are they going to do exactly? I do not know. What are the Allies going to do about those Panthers? They can probably just do nothing, to be honest. Although the T-34-85 has moved to this side of the map. And Charles Martel might want to wait for the S2, but we'll see. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Yeah, now those Panthers, they actually might be kind of getting baited in by this T-34-85, which luckily does not get Panzerfausted. That probably should have happened. But yeah, they might be getting baited in, because look, there's 2 more AT guns positioning themselves to fire on those Panthers. If they move in further, that might be pretty bad. The only flanking attempt that we have is this push from the OKW guy. These Germans are not really coordinating their efforts all that much. Except now, they're actually coming in with the Command Panther to help out the other Panthers.
We are losing a sector.
Big fight about to be breaking out, but thanks to that smoke, I'm sure that the Allies will not want to engage in. Yeah, the T-34 might die, but the KV is trying to put himself in between his friend and the enemies to save him, and it's working out. The 2 Panthers, well, one of them took a little bit of damage and decided to retreat, which might not be the best thing. And then the other one decided to go on the right, but again, these Panthers, they're useless against infantry, unless you get in very close with that pintle-mounted machine gun. Nice usage of the Il-2-Sturmovik attacks to prevent the German infantry from doing too serious damage. So it seems like the Soviets are gonna stay afloat essentially by making sure that the German infantry can't really do too much, and I see the answer for that. The answer for that is this 1,000 manpower that Larry Longballs has, and that's because he's got 2 Panthers, and he's waiting for the Tiger Ace, which is 26 CPs, and he's only got 80 CPs on the field. Or rather, he's got 80 CPs on the field, which means that he's only got, whatchamacallit, I feel stupid right now. He doesn't have enough for the Tiger Ace. No, this is multiplayer. This is my viewers send in replays that they played already. So it is multiplayer, it's just not being played right now. It's been played, you know, a while ago. Yeah, that Panther, like, one-shotted the engineers, which was weird here. Like, I have never seen a Panther one-shot an infantry squad. Ever, before this time. And, yeah, see, I'm not sure about Lorenzo's idea of getting some, whatchamacallit, some, I feel stupid right now. Told you did nothing wrong. I feel pretty retarded right now, but yeah, the idea is he wants to get some Panzergrenadiers for the Wehrmacht guy, but to be honest, yeah, he's waiting for the Tiger Ace, so it's just not applicable right now. What he wants to do is he wants to lose units to get the Tiger Ace, which is a bad idea. But that's why the Tiger Ace doctrine is bad, is because it pushes you to do really stupid things just to have the Tiger Ace. But I don't know. That Panzerfaust miss? That's hilarious. And look at this defense that the Soviets have set up just basically everywhere. We have, you know, AT guns and machine guns and sandbags here defending the VP. We have machine gun and AT guns and mortar defending the VP up here. We have the KV being repaired. And we have, obviously, Char Martel, because T-3485 baiting in the Panthers. Now here comes a big push from these Grenadiers, but they're getting absolutely obliterated by the Soviet infantry and anti-infantry fire. The anti-tank guns are trying to keep those Panthers at bay. Where is the command Panther that needs to be supporting? It's still back here getting repaired. Pretty bad for it, and the Panthers are now moving into a very crowded position with a lot of Soviet units. So first Panther is dead. The second one is not going to have the best of days either if it stays there. Thankfully, the first Panther's wreckage might be covering it, but he smokes and tries to get away. Will that be enough? Another hit brings it down to basically no HP, and it looks like it will escape, but the T-3485 is now a tank with a mission. It's gonna try to finish it off, but I don't think it will be able to because it sees that the Tiger Ace is here. So now that he's lost some units, he can get the Tiger Ace, and he can never get units ever again as long as he has the Tiger Ace because he's got absolutely no income. So obviously the Tiger Ace is kind of a derp. Tiger Ace decides to move into 2 AT guns, pops smoke, and then moves through the smoke into the line of fire of the AT guns, which is obviously a pretty damn bad idea. He's getting supported finally by the Command Panther, but the Command Panther, yeah, he uses the Mark vehicle on the KV, but that's not enough because, you know, it's got support. And so that big German push kind of resulted in a whole lot of... Will they ever penetrate a single shot on this Command Panther? Look at this! He's been tanking like shot after shot. That was like 12 shots in a row, either bouncing or not hitting. It's just really weird. Yeah, whatever. So that's, you could say, pretty okay for the Allies. I mean, they didn't really lose anything in that fight. That big engagement, the Germans lost a veteran Panther. They got their Tiger Ace all destroyed, which is a bad thing because, guess what? Larry Longballs has 1 Pioneer. Now he needs he has got 1 Pioneer to repair 2 big tanks. Of course, there's also this one that he can use, which is a little bit not as bad. And yeah, the problem is, as long as the Tiger Ace lives, he doesn't have that much income. But as long as the Tiger Ace lives at half HP, it's not killing anything, which means it's not making up for that lost income. So it's being a big burden for nothing right about now. Which is relatively sad, I feel like, if you're a Tiger Ace player. You're like, Yeah, I finally have my Tiger Ace. And then it's worthless because you get it shot up, and then all it does is it drains your resources. That is pretty sad, I feel like. 13 bounces, 1 miss. Must have been something like that. Must have been something like that. Anyway, so what do we have left in terms of advantages for the Germans? Well, obviously they have bigger vehicles, but as we know from history, having the bigger metal box doesn't always make you win. And so we'll see. Like, they have right now a certain vehicle superiority in terms of anti-armor, because obviously, you know, T-34-85 plus KV plus T-34-76 can't deal with Command Panther, Tiger Ace, and normal Panther, but the Soviets are bringing in quite a lot of infantry. And they're bringing in the aggressive mindset and the pressure that needs to come along with it, because as you can see, they have managed to lock down and hold through sheer attrition the left and middle, but they're still pushing onto the right. They're not sitting on their laurels and just kind of letting the game take its course. They're trying to make everything happen, and ooh, big Papa Pump is 2. This is a very bad idea. Never send in the IS-2 alone. Never ever send in the IS-2 alone, because that's gonna happen to you. It needs to be supported by the infantry, especially because it's slow as hell. So yeah, swarms of enemy infantry can be pretty bad for the IS-2, and it needs to be supported also by either AT guns or SUs. But I'm sure that that's going to be done from now on. That was just kind of a fluke, maybe. Yeah, okay, so we have a couple of combat engineers doing their thing. It's going to be more difficult as the game runs on for the Allies to repair their tanks as opposed to the Germans, because the Germans have the mechanized regiment headquarters, while the Allies only have engineers. But to be honest, if they can use their tanks more parsimoniously, which is a big word, but if they can use their tanks more sparingly, you know, more cautiously, they shouldn't have that much of a problem. Germans moving in with the smoke in the center from the mortar, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was from the mortar. Pretty well done. There goes that T-34.
The enemy has destroyed one of our vehicles.
So, yeah, not the best engagement for the Allies. They're taking a pounding on their vehicles, but the Tiger Ace is also taking a pounding. We have the Su-85 goes down as well. T-34 tries to move into the Tiger Ace. The Tiger Ace pops Panzer Tactician and gets the hell out of there, but is it going to be enough? Probably not. Honestly, this T-34 can ram into this guy, stunning him and allowing the KV to catch up and possibly get behind the Tiger to penetrate it. Yeah, most likely that's going to be the case. So there goes the KV into the rear. That's not something that you say every time, or that you see every day. Oh, are they gonna? No! Look at that! Crush! No! That would have been the best crush of a lifetime, except my crush of like a million Volksgrenadier squads of Shermans, but yeah, okay. So the Allies in the end do lose their tanks, and they've killed the Tiger Ace. I think that was, they've done a favor to the Germans, I think, because they've taken Larry Longballs out of the Tiger Ace addiction. And now he can actually build other stuff. If he builds a Brumbear right now, he basically wins. Like, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but yeah, if he builds a Brumbear right now, he is going to be in such a good position. Because right now, the Soviets are obviously relying a lot on these support weapons to defend and on the infantry to push. They are putting... Oh, wow, that was great. They're putting a secondary importance to their... That was one hell of a stun grenade assault. That's honestly really weird, because that was a stun grenade plus the normal grenade, so I thought that was a stun grenade assault, which doesn't exist in Company of Heroes. 2. it exists in Company of Heroes 1. It's the... I'm not sure if you call them assault grenades in Company of Heroes 1. Yeah, I think they're called assault grenades. It's what the Blitzkrieg doctrine gives the Wehrmacht, and they're really, really good. But yeah, that doesn't exist in Company of Heroes 2. So we have the IS-2 still around, and that's kind of like the saving race for the Allies right about now, because they've got 50 VPs, and they've got a relatively solid defense on VP number 1 and VP number center. So if they can keep this going by anchoring themselves on the IS-2, they should be able to maintain this. Although, this is starting to get scary, because look at this. Vet-free Panther plus Vet-2 Panther. Vet-free Command Panther, nonetheless. That is definitely scary, especially as we see some target vehicles being used. But yeah, look at this. This is a lot of defense. Honestly, Panzerwerfers from the Germans, or yeah, okay, Panzerwerfer is on the field, or Brumbears, or both. Those could work too. So the Panzerwerfer is gonna be changing the dynamic a little bit, because the Allies are not gonna have the option of just blobbing up and defending as a blob anymore, which is gonna be making it a lot more difficult for them to just survive. So left push is not gonna succeed. Center push is not gonna succeed for the Germans either. And we have the counter push coming in from the Soviet infantry, which is being relatively effective, but that was not enough to endanger the engine of this thing, and they're gonna need to run away very quickly. Yes, that was good on their part. They managed to completely avoid that. Command Panther tries to push in, probably for I don't know what reason, gave him the green light to that push, but yeah, it didn't really work out. T-34 also comes in to try to hunt down the Panther, but it also is, gaining way ahead of itself. And up here, IS-2 has managed to destroy these normal grenadiers, all of them in fact, with the support, of course, of this machine gun squad. And yeah, now the Volksgrenadier has to run away. So the Allied defense holds, and it holds at 49 VPs. There's now a Schwer Panzer headquarters being built on the right to prevent the Allies from just kind of randomly capping with one unit. Honestly, at this point, it would be more important to get units out. Like, Delmon had a Schwer before, and he's got all of the buildings set up, and he's got a Stuka. So if he hadn't built that Schwer Panzer headquarters for like 135 fuel something, he could have a KT around this time. And I feel like that would be more useful, because the KT would just be so effective against the infantry that's kind of blobbed up, It would be the two-man punching squad, You have the artillery for punch number 1, and then you have the KT for punch number 2. Yeah, okay, let's just look at the chat a little bit. Yeah, the KV-2 is a unit in this game, and it's really awesome. It's really, really awesome. All right, and this is gonna be like the big final battle coming up, because we have the IS-2 getting ready, getting Vet 1, and yeah, nice usage of the artillery so far, by the way. Because look at this, 20 kills, which means 18 infantry kills, and that's probably all coming from the artillery ability. In terms of this guy, we have 4 kills, which isn't as impressive, and 2 kills, which is also not as impressive, but still, like, honestly, the usage of the artillery has been quite good. The artillery ability, sorry. Nice merge, by the way. Merge the conscript with the AT gun, because the AT gun is by far the most important one to keep alive and in the fight. And we do have a usage of for the Motherland ready for Aziz, and so I'm thinking that for the Motherland is going to be instrumental, because that's how you're going to clean up the German infantry, although there's not much German infantry left, so you can just come in with the, shock troops and take everything down. He does that, and now with Nora Kenwerfer there, is there anything protecting these vehicles? Probably not. So now here comes the S2 heavy tank, and you know, combined push with the T-34s. There's also another KV-1 coming in. The German tanks can probably win the tank fight, just due to their sheer veterancy and you know, the fact that they're Panthers. But honestly, with the support of the Allied infantry, there isn't really that much that they can do. Also, there is the very perilous position of these Panzerwerfers, who are crucial right now to the Germans. They need to not lose them. Here comes the anti-tank grenades, as I expected, and this is what's going to win the fight for the Soviet armor. Yeah, look at that. 122 millimeter of Soviet, you know, Soviet might is going to absolutely break through the Panzer's armor, destroys the main gun. Panther tries to run away. It's lucky that the KV-1 barely misses on the attack round. It does not miss the second time, or at least the AT guns do not. And so, yeah, the second Panther, the command Panther, has to run away. KV decides to chase, which is a bad idea. Not just because of the reinforcing Panther, but also because it can't 1v1 a command Panther. It's going to try to destroy the Stuka and manages to succeed with its last dying breath. Comrade, we are tank. If we are destroyed, we are heroes. In case you do not know, that's a meme. Okay, it's actually a copy pasta, technically not a meme. Comrades, we are tank. If we lose the threads, we are bunker or something. I don't remember. And then it's like, if we lose armor, we are heroes. Anyway, that was a great engagement for the Soviets, and they have managed even to push to the Axis base. Destroying the last Panther. No, maybe that's not the last Panther. This is the last Panther. It's the command one. Oh, where are you going? Where are you going? Okay, so the T-34-76 is like, fuck this, I can do this alone. And so he goes behind the Panther and destroys him. Cue the Fury, you know, the little Fury-like clip. Oh, Katyusha rocket barrage. Will that be enough to save the Soviets? Because they're at 49 VPs, so they need to not lose these VPs. But they've recapped left, so yeah. No triple cap. Center is going to be recapped by the hordes of conscripts. And the right side, so far they do not need it. But, you know, they need to remember that that's there. Are the Panzerwerfers dead? One of them is dead. The second one is just hiding in a relatively clever position, but it's going to give its position away by firing at the VP. No, at nothing. Obviously, he was firing at the shock troops, but yeah, it's going to be the end. I feel like this game is a good juxtaposition to the last one that I casted today. You know, the one where counterattack tactics just did not have a good day. And this one, it did have a good day, and, you know, it just shows you how you can use it to good effect. In fact, I'm going to say that what really won the Allies this game was the synergy between the two Allied players. You know, both in the doctrine selection, where you have the S2 heavy tank supported by a lot of buffed infantry with For Mother Russia, a lot of buffed good infantry in terms of the shock troops as well, which is obviously something that you lack in terms of the armored assault, and obviously some very solid play with how they set up their support weapons, their defenses, and overall just making sure that they're able to work together. Whereas the Germans, they were just kind of, you know, one guy goes to this side and then the other guy goes to that side, and then when the two smash into us, we don't redeploy for some reason. And then in the end, they did try to work together with the Panthers, but it was a little bit too late because Larry Long Balls did a pretty atrocious doctrine selection, which kind of doomed them to uselessness, you could say. But yeah, that's the end. KV1 for the Stuka and the Panther. Use every single ability except the V4. Yeah, that's how you do it. It's worked pretty damn well. Yeah, I know you cannot KT with the Command Panther, but what I was saying is, instead of the Command